know, some of you guys don't know, but
by the way, just as a preface on this, okay, I'm going to give my full take on the Twitch anti-Semitism stuff, okay? I'm going to give my full take on everything right here. One, I don't like banning people in general for opinions that they have, okay? So that's number one. Number two, I am 60-40 on thinking that Twitch doesn't have a massive internal, but this could change because I guess there's some leaked chat logs that I haven't heard about until I started stream today. So maybe my opinion on this will change. But as it stands right now, I'm like 60-40 that the the anti-Semitism is more Hassan sucking than, disliking Israelis or Jews or anything like that. That being said, the effect of what's happening is anti-Semitism. That's my opinion. And I do think that Twitch needs to take a look at this because holy shit. We'll see in this video, he'll go over it. They banned new account creation from the country of Israel for an entire year. And their explanation was, ooh, fun. Can't wait to see you change on if Twitch is anti-Semitic. Oh, we'll see. But it is a little bit unbelievable that they had an entire country soft banned for a year and did not notice it. That's a really, really unbelievably bad look. That is a catastrophic look. That is either the most dereliction of I say duty, but like you have a duty to do your job, I guess, right? Like you have a job to do, and if you are derelict in doing that, you're derelict in your duty. So for lack of a better phrase, like the dereliction of duty to notice an entire market has no growth whatsoever, has no growth in advertising sales, has no growth for an entire year. You know that these guys have at least quarterly meetings where they talk about the financial situation of Twitch. Don't public companies have to put out quarterly reports? And you didn't notice for an entire year that there's a market that hasn't been growing at all, 0%? Or negative percent because people are no longer using their accounts just because of like the natural way people, make and unmake account or make accounts on something and then stop using the thing. Like you don't notice that. You don't notice when all of these requests come in like, hey, why can't I make an account? That's pretty crazy. But, and I said this in a tweet, replying to, oh, it's going to bother me, Devin Nash. And we'll pull up his Devin Nash. Oh, man. Where is it? This isn't the tweet that I'm thinking of. This is the one I'm thinking of. Here, we'll read it first, okay? Twitch is an advertising nightmare situation. Advertisers are leaving the website and not returning. Twitch has controversy after controversy and can't get its enforcement straight. I don't know if the website will survive long-term without serious changes. That is the entire gist of this entire post. Going into more detail on some parts, but that's like the beginning and end of it to me. If Twitch is to survive and they don't want to just, have the website survive, not even thrive, but survive until, all of the top streamers retire, right? and then just let it fade into dust. If Twitch wants this to be a lasting platform, they're going to have to change some major stuff when it comes to enforcement of the rules, to how there's preferential treatment for specific streamers, not just in the rules, but in how they are pushing people to the front page and how they market things. There's obvious preferential treatment, and to a certain degree, you're good. You'll totally understand that, right? Like, these people are making the most money for the website. We're going to give them some preferential treatment because we want them to stay on our website, because they're bringing advertisers in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when it becomes such a problem that advertisers are leaving and you're still protecting them, and we'll get into advertisers leaving here in a minute, right? When you're in that situation, something has to change immediately. And if it doesn't, advertisers probably won't come back in force. And this is something that I kind of touched on last time when we were talking about it. There's something really important about applying rules consistently, right? When I was working in schools, right, I used to help with tutoring and after school stuff and substitute teaching and stuff like that. If you create one set of rules for some kids and then another set of rules for the kids that you don't really like that much, and they're like really loud and annoying, and you like heavily enforce the rules on the ones that you don't like as much, they're going to notice. All right. Even first graders can tell when there's uneven enforcement of rules, right? Like, for example, I remember, and I hated this, and I talked to the counselor of that school, and they talked to the principal, I believe. But there was a first grade teacher that I really hated. I really hated that teacher because there were some problem kids in her class, and instead of dealing with them in a way to, allow them to continue learning while they were in her class, she just kind of put them off into corners and ignored them the entire day and talked down to them. And there were other kids in that class who were the good ones, but because they're 7-year-olds, they're going to do something wrong sometimes, and you're going to have to admonish them. It was always oh, sweetheart, you can't do that. Those kids talked to me, okay? When I substituted for that class, when I had to help them out at recess and stuff, and other events. Those kids, they knew that they would get in trouble for things that the other kids wouldn't. 7-year-olds can notice this stuff. And if 7-year-olds can notice this stuff, I think that the staff at Twitch can too, right? Now, what I don't think is the correct thing that Devin Nash here says, let me see here. The choice ahead for DJ Clancy, that's the CEO of Twitch, is clear to me. You must either ban all controversial and extremist content or none of it. And because a competitor already exists where all content is allowed and owns 10% of Twitch's audience, Kick, really, 10%? I don't think Kick is public, right? Kick streaming platform stock, privately held company. So he works in the business side of streaming, so I don't know what the I don't know how he would know that, but I don't have the ability to figure that out. 10% seems pretty massive because Twitch is still a massive platform by itself. They have 10% of Twitch's audience? That's crazy. The choice is pretty clear. This means politics, all sides, hateful content, and so on. Some people may argue this line is unclear. That was true in 2015 when we were figuring out advertising. But today it's very clear, and these categories are well understood. You can see each level of what's controversial or not on YouTube's pages or when you upload a YouTube video. Wait, what? You can see each level of what's controversial or not on YouTube's pages or when you upload a YouTube video. Is that true, Tron? Or do you know? You can try forcing this content into categories and then demonetizing that content, but it's too far gone, and the Twitch Kingmaker system still throws that content to the top of discovery. You can't fool advertisers, but this is a stopgap that might at least help temporarily. Now, this is what I disagree with. I don't think, number one, I don't think that it's even, one, I don't think it's easily possible to ban politics wholesale on a platform that is a social media platform, and we live in the world that we do live in. Someone's going to talk about politics at some point, or about something that is political or something like that. That's just going to happen. It's so easy. I think it might be a little bit harder than you think. It seems like it might be easy, but I don't think it would be. You talk about it, you get banned. Oh, thanks, Little Bits. You're a genius. No, but here's the real thing. It's pretty easy to ban extremist content, right? Like, you can set the bar pretty high for extremist content. Like, I don't know. If I was to look at the terrorism and violent extremism part of Twitch's TOS, can't display or link terrorist or extremist propaganda, including graphic pictures or footage of terrorist or extremist violence, even for the purposes of denouncing such content. You can't show any extremist or terrorist propaganda, can't glorify, encourage, or support terrorism or violent extremist actors or acts. I feel like this is already in the TOS. You don't have to do much. You just have to enforce it. You just go back to the original Twitch, get rid of all non-gaming content. Well, I think that the last time that they banned people for not doing games, and also you have to understand, one of the things that, they had a rule a long time ago, I understand, that you had to be gaming on Twitch. It was a gaming website, and this was where you went to game. And if you weren't playing a game, you could get either temporarily banned or warned by staff in your chat, et cetera, right? You could bring something back like that, but you know what people did while they played video games? They talked. They talked. And they chatted. And they built audiences based off of their personalities. And that's how people would just put on Minesweeper in the background and sit there and chat with people because they're technically playing a game. The culture of Twitch is such that people want to interact with the human behind the screen, you know? It's not, people don't go to Twitch because they just want to watch video gaming most of the time. There are streamers for that, but people go to Twitch and people watch live streams because there's going to be someone on the, oh my Lord, I lost my train of thought because I got a text. What was I saying? Oh, there's a couple of reasons people might want to watch a streamer. It could be for skill. It could be for personality. Those are the two broad categories, right? People are going to watch someone because they're doing something really cool, really skilled, something that they can do and nobody else can, right? Or they're going to be showing off parts of their personality that are interesting to people that people want to listen to, you know? It would be easy to have people report any political content. Because the definition of what is and what isn't political can be stretched and narrowed so much, right? But you can draw you can put it as a high bar and say no terrorism or violent extremism, right? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Twitch's TOS is actually fine as is. But I mean, if you can think of a way to define political content in a way that encompasses all political content in a way that would never, include people not talking about politics, then sure. But this isn't a gaming news website where the only topic is going to be gaming. People like to talk about their lives. People like to talk about, fun stuff that they do. The nature of the website has changed significantly. And gamers, let me tell you something. The gaming community from 2015 to 2019, it ain't alive in the same way that it was. I'm pretty sure Major League Gaming stuff is like died down pretty significantly, right? Or am I wrong on that? Anyways, all that is to say, like, the ultimate thing is we don't have to ban all politics. It's just uneven enforcement. Uneven enforcement. That's like the biggest thing. The culture of the company itself is leading to problems on the website. And now it's coming to a head because someone's pointing it out in a very, very obnoxious and loud way. In a way that Twitch can't just ignore them as, deranged, haters of Hassan or someone. There's no way to have non-biased enforcement if humans are involved. I think YouTube does it better than Twitch. I'm not saying go for perfection, right? But you can do better than what you're doing now, right? And the bias thing, you could get banned and then you can appeal and that should go to a different group of people. Like, I don't disagree. There's no way to have non-biased enforcement if humans are involved. But that's why you have appeals, YouTube has prepared content. It's easier. Well, they also have live events, right? I don't think it makes it any easier or harder, to be honest.
The reason that this block went into place, the reason that they were gave, is that we were worried that there was going to be bad content streamed, right? I mean, the global day of jihad, it's possible there could have been bad content streamed. But this block, as they said that they were going to put into place, wouldn't have even made any difference, right? So if they're saying it only blocked...
And why would they have never blocked, Ukraine and Russia from creating Twitch accounts, Like, make it make sense. Why wasn't Lebanon banned? Because they were lobbing missiles into Israel, and you knew that something was going to happen there. Why was Lebanon not... why were they not banned? Why was it the only conflict in the world that has ever received a ban is Israel?
Blocked email signups. I don't understand. Do they think that a terrorist is gonna hold up their MacBook when they're doing car bombing or something? They're gonna use a phone in a mobile login. This is so stupid. It made no sense whatsoever. But none of it mattered because, of course, all email and all phone was blocked as a result of this. So the next thing that's even more disgusting is, why is it that when these Israeli users put in tickets saying, hey, when I say put in tickets, I mean emailed into Twitch support, support at twitch.tv or whatever, and they said, hey, I can't create an account, what's going on? Do you know what they responded with? They responded with, sorry, you're not eligible at this time. They didn't say, hey, oh, by the way, you just have to use your phone, which isn't going to work anyways. They told you, sorry, you're not eligible. That's the first thing. Why was the error message cryptic in the first place? Why not say, hey, sorry, we've currently banned people from your region? Why that? Are you trying to hide it and make it feel it's their fault? I mean, that's pretty up as well. So the email tickets were pretty deceiving. Then if you went to user voice, which is kind of like a support system that they can run on their website, and did it, and you put in a ticket.
Yada, yada, yada. Long story short, someone at Twitch knew the entire time. Someone at Twitch knew without a doubt.
Another thing that's even more crazy that's come out is that Twitter outsourced their support. So on Twitch outsourced some of their support so that when you go and you click report on a VOD, okay, because you've seen something that you don't like, or you're clicking report on a chat message because someone's called you a Zionist loser or whatever it is, right? And you click report on it, okay? Do you know where that's going now? That goes to Egypt, which doesn't make sense. Egypt, according to a Pew research poll, which had an opinion of Jews, Egypt had a...
This right here is something I don't know if this points to anti-Semitism, but it might point towards just a confusing decision. I don't understand why Egypt of all places, but 1 second. If you wanted a full rundown, Rezi could probably give it to you. No, I'm pretty well appraised of the situation. It seems like it's going to end up being lost in the election. I think that's what Twitch is banking on. I highly doubt an adpocalypse comes from it, but who knows? Oh, wait till you see what we're watching next.
95% unfavorable view of Jews, okay? 95%. I don't know what to say. That's crazy. I don't know why you would outsource something like this specifically to Egypt when you could have done it to like where all the normal American companies outsource stuff for cheap labor, the Philippines or Malaysia.
Just because I don't feel like Egypt would be cheaper than like what he's talking about right here, right? I don't have a problem with Egyptians. It just seems like when I think of tech support, I'm not thinking of the Middle East, you know? Like, I'm thinking of places that have the infrastructure and are known for having cheap labor and other companies using like people in that country for doing it. So I think of places like India, I think of places like the Philippines, right? I don't think about Egypt of all things. Now, I don't know if they, like, Dan seems to be implying that they chose Egypt because they were more anti-Semitic there. I don't know about that. That seems like a stretch to me, but that's just me.
Asia or India or the United Kingdom. I'm joking. But seriously, what the why would you go there? It's not even cheaper. Egypt is relatively more sophisticated, more adept at this. It's going to cost more money to do this in Egypt than it would in the Philippines. So why? And there's going to be better English literacy in the Philippines as well. Same with India. What the is going on? Why are tier 1 support? And by the way, this is the process. When you go and you do something and you do a report, it goes to that person. They can mark it as good or not good. And then if you keep doing it and enough people keep doing it, maybe it goes to a tier 2. And you're like, oh, okay, then it goes to like Twitch's office. No, then it goes to another manager there who decides it. And you know what? Here's the thing that is really up. In the rules of Twitch, Zionist is okay to say against people. And I challenge you to find a word that you can replace with Zionist. They're genuinely scared to speak up. I'm like, hey.
I disagree with what he says there, so I'm going to skip.
That we're at here, that they've done that. It gets crazier. I don't know how it gets crazier, but it does. As I go.
I don't. When it comes to anti-Semitism, it's really easy to see when, you know, the Ku Klux Klan or the Nazis are doing it, right? When there's someone who's like virulently anti-Semitic in that way, it's very out in front, in your face, et cetera, et cetera. Leftist anti-Semitism is really hard. And it's hard for the same reason that talking about racism with conservatives is hard. Talking to conservatives about racism is hard because they don't feel like they're racist, right? They're not racist in a way that makes sense to them. Yeah, so like talking to conservatives about, you know, racism is really hard because they like truly don't feel like they're racist, right? And of course, there's different levels of racism and there's different levels of anti-Semitism and blah, 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 blah. And talking to a conservative about that can be really difficult. Talking to a leftist about anti-Semitism can be really, really unbelievably difficult because they don't feel like they hate Jews because they're talking about Israel specifically, right? But then so many of the truly anti-Semitic, you know, conspiracy theories about Jews controlling the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, map cleanly onto so many criticisms leftists have towards Israel. It's really hard to talk to people who do not believe that they are a certain thing and to convince them that they are doing that thing, right? It's really hard to talk to a conservative who like does level 1 racism and say, hey, that was a little racist, because they don't think that they're racist at all, right? It's not until someone's screaming a slur in someone's face that they see the racism. And leftists right now, the kingmakers of identity politics, the people who know who everyone's ethnic background is so they can decide whether they have the pass to say certain slurs or not, right? These people suddenly forget all of the other stuff that they talk about when it comes to racism when it applies to them. Anti-Semitism is a defense mechanism for Zion. No, because again, like I just said, the problem is that so many of the anti-Zionist talking points, they map 1-to-1 with like the anti-Semitic Nazi conspiracy theories. It's really, really hard to explain how much they do. Israel is controlling other Western governments so that they can, continue doing their genocide of, the Arab populations, and the U.S. doesn't get anything out of its partnership with Israel, but we're just doing it because the Jews control us. That's what they say, right? Or I'm sorry, not the Jews. Leftists would say Israel. How the fuck am I meant to criticize Israel? You could do it stronger than I do, right? But I think that you have to talk about the specifics of the government, right? And the specific actions of the government. Instead of talking about, broadly Israelis or Israel does this. Because Israel, believe it or not, has quite a bit of, ideological diversity in their country. They do. There have been massive protests against Netanyahu. There are lots of people in Israel that want the war to end. Now, they might not want the war to end for the exact same reasons as you, but it's true. They do, right? Not every single Israeli is a bloodthirsty, wants to kill a Palestinian person. There are some people that are like that, right? And it's the same way that, like, when I criticize Palestinians, I'm usually pretty careful to qualify when I talk about Palestinian, like the issues with the Palestinian resistance against the Israeli encroachment upon their territory, right? Like, these organizations that are in charge suck ass. They suck ass, and they have made it worse for the Palestinians, right? Palestinian people deserve to not live in perpetual limbo where they have no state that they can go to. No state will take them, right? And why will no state take them as citizens? Why is Israel, constantly justified and increasing their policing of the West Bank and of Gaza and the borders and the trade that goes in and out? It's because the shithead leaders of the Palestinian resistance choose violence 99% of the time, and on the other side, like, you can point towards the government of Israel, right? And you can say, hey, this is where they did good and this is where they did bad. I think that there is, I'm not as well read into the history and the specifics of each individual prime minister of Israel, but there was one that was really close to reaching an agreement with the leaders of the Palestinian movement. I believe in the 90s, just before Netanyahu started getting in control. And it was going to be like a roadmap for a deal that would actually finish stuff, right? Ehud Olmert, maybe, I don't know. But like, there is some appetite for that in the country. But what you have to criticize is you have to criticize the leadership. Instead of criticizing the country and saying Israelis do this thing, you should say that the Israeli government is doing this, and we need the leadership to change massively. We need someone to get in charge that is willing to play ball, that isn't going to cuck themselves to the furthest right, extreme orthodox aspects of their society, right? And what the Palestinians need is someone that is not going to cuck themselves out to the violent extremists, that is willing to sit there and play ball and talk to, use their words to reach a deal, right? Because at a certain point, the violence isn't going to work. You've tried it for a long time. You've only gotten weaker. So both sides of this equation need a change in leadership, right? It's much easier for the Israelis to change their leadership, I believe, than the Palestinians, because the Palestinians aren't even fully united, It's the difference between saying Russians are orcs and the Russian government acts like orcs. Yeah, I mean, like, I would just say that the Russian government is about the closest thing to a fascist government in the world today. And I feel bad for the people that live there, but, like there are ways to, and this is something that it's very difficult because my and I've talked about this a million times. My family are like hardcore bleeding heart, like gigalibs, and trying to lay that out with my family, who are also combative and argumentative and will interrupt you in the middle of you trying to lay out something that will take 10 minutes to lay out, right? Is that they're going to interrupt you and then you're going to pull down some side tangent conversation. And that's really rough, right? Everyone has to be willing to listen to everybody else. That's like the major, like, overarching. I know this sounds like super reductive, but this is like the highest level, or I'm sorry, the most baseline level rather, right? This is the one issue that lays at the bottom of every single other thing, every other obstacle towards a future where there is less or no fighting. There is no leadership that is willing to speak to each other in good faith to achieve something that is lasting. That's how you criticize the government of Israel, right? And let me be clear. Netanyahu's a monster. He will cuck out to anyone to his right so that he can stay in power. He is a bad person. He is nigh on evil, though I don't know as much about, I don't like calling people evil unless I really do feel like they're evil. But, based on the very little that I do know about the guy and the little bit that I know about the Israeli government, yeah, I'd probably say that Netanyahu's an evil dude who's willing to, he would totally, green light the carpet bombing of Gaza if there were no repercussions. He would do it. But I don't think that everyone in Israel would agree with that. I don't even think that the majority of people in Israel would agree with flat out actually just straight up doing the genocide. And making that distinction between people and governments, I think, is so unbelievably important, right? And I mean, like, of course, if you see someone who's saying something crazy, who is just like a citizen, but they're a supporter of like the craziest far, extreme of Israeli society, yeah, you can point out, say that they are bloodthirsty monsters. And it's not because they're Israeli, and it's not because they're Jewish, it's because they're a weirdo, like, extremist religious person. And all religions, it seems like, all religions, once you get to someone who's an extremist for that religion, becomes a terrorist. Seems like the common thing there is the religion that's driving people into extremes. But anyway, I've been rambling about this for a while. Let's keep watching.
Helpful people from Twitch and from
TLDR, it is hard to explain to leftists how they're being anti-Semitic because they don't feel like they're anti-Semitic. It's a very high bar to them to start doing anti-Semitism. They're clearing it, in my opinion, right? Especially, man, as time goes on, right? But it's not to say that you can't criticize Israel or that you shouldn't criticize Israel. I'm fine with people doing that, right? It's just picking and choosing your targets for your criticisms. And leftists are not discerning enough when it comes to criticizing Israel to make the distinctions between Israelis, Jews, and the government of Israel. And even within there, the government of Israel and which parties are the ones that are at fault.
Amazon reach out to me directly and thank me for what I'm doing, because I've been crazy active on Twitter for the last little bit here, and they're genuinely scared to speak up. I'm like, hey, why don't you guys like say something internally? Why don't you do something? And they're like, dude, are you out of your mind? There's no way I can do that. So everyone's afraid to say anything inside of there because of this ultra woke leftist Hassan mentality, honestly, that the Jews are evil, the Zionists are evil, and Palestine will be free, and America is an imperialist, colonialist country, and Iran is better on gay rights than America is. They're so progressive. They're better on trans rights too. I can't believe I heard that. In Israel, if you're gay, if you go 1,500 miles in any other direction, you will get killed or put in prison for the most part if you're gay. That's it. people like to say, oh, that's not true. In Iran, they're very trans positive. Yeah, they force you to transition if they find out that you're gay. That's the positivity on it. I don't want to get into politics too much on this. It just, the whole thing frustrates me immensely. So as I'm looking into, okay, so who is in like the official executive team? Who is it that's running trust and safety? Who are the people that are doing this? And I find one of the top people, I think it's the manager of trust and safety or the senior manager of trust and safety, their last job, they were in front of parliament by the prime minister, essentially, on television. Well, I don't know if in front of them, but they were certainly called out in front of them for anti-Zionism. Huge news in the BBC, everything like that. You know where their next job is? I think you know where I'm going with. Senior manager, trust and safety, twitch.tv. Explain that to me, okay, as a Jew. Let me give you a better example. Let's say that George Santos, you know, the crazy guy from New York, the Republican that's like wild. Imagine he somehow, I don't know how he's going to do it, but imagine he's found innocent on all of the charges. I can't believe it. He actually is Jewish and gay and not gay at the same time. And he was born in Argentina and he was in drag and not in drag. I don't know. It's a miracle. Who the would hire George Santos even if he was innocent, even if he did nothing wrong afterwards? What does that say about your company? So there's other reasons why this is fucked. What about all of these Israeli streamers, right? What the Imagine being one of these guys, you doing this for a living, and it's like, hey, all they talk about is the Jewish question and if Jews are controlling the weather and all this stuff. Ban them all for 30 days. So I'm just curious if at the next TwitchCon, I can do like my, the region, and inadvertently it was left that you want to give to there. I don't think that's the answer you want to give there. Really what I want to know. Because it's crazy. Entire nation of people. That's what I would tell you, okay?
Now, Letner Goat. This, on that topic of Adpocalypse when it comes to Twitch. Let's go back.
Incompetent loser. I don't give a shit. It's not just...
What do you think the result is going to be then? Has anything happened? Have any advertisers pulled out?
They've lost 70% of their advertisers already.
Twitch has lost 70% of their advertisers?
Yes.
Where can I see that?
You can't.
What do you mean?
I mean, I know you don't know. That's basically it. Like, because I don't know how this has happened. 5 days ago, I was a that plays Rust all day, okay? You understand? That's all I did. I played Rust all day, and I did.
Has this been reported on by anywhere? You just have some inside knowledge, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah. People from Amazon, people from Twitch are contacting me, and they're telling me what's going on every day.
Why has it not been reported?
Because no, what do you mean? Because who's going to report on it?
Dexerto, Kotaku, Polygon, this is a huge story.
I was told that this is the only part that's relevant. But like, if it's true that Twitch is losing like 75% of their advertisers as a result of this campaign, that's bad. That's really bad.
There were so many articles about the YouTube ad boycott when that happened. How was nobody blown a whistle?
Listen, everyone's saying source trust me, bro. Like, what do you want me to say? Okay, then whatever.
Do you?
The advertisement time is way down on Twitch, and we can test this in real time. I don't know if this is true, but if I go to Twitch and I go to Hasanabi, oh, he's live right now. Will I get an ad?
There's a 40 news being like, it's because they're...
I have never clicked on Hassan's stream and not gotten an ad. Never once. This dude, 100%, has major limited ads. It's gone from 230 average down to 40 seconds? Really? And if we go to his VODs and we were to click around on this, here, let's just go to his VOD today. Will we get an ad?
There's so many like-minded people around them that they feel like
let's put this speed up at 2 times, and we'll just talk for a second and see if eventually we get an ad, because this guy runs tons of ads. Wider non-politics streamers. Do you have anything that is talking about this that has like a link that shows what you're talking about, or is this just like what you've seen on Twitter, people saying it's not true because he has no way of proving it? Well, I mean, like clicking on Hassan's stream and not getting an ad, I would say that that's at least some evidence towards Hassan getting limited ads or fully demonetized when it comes to ads, because Hassan is a huge streamer on their website. Actually, you know, I'm super curious, actually. Pre-roll ads seem to be gone now. Oh, so if I just click on anybody, let's find who's like a... Do I recognize any other big name? Let's just go to recommended channels. Mizkif, does he get a pre-roll? Oh, maybe they just took off pre-rolls quietly. Why is that? Oh, he's getting off.
Hey,
Do you
watch
not
some
blame
Amazon
them for being
streams.
skeptical of a claim that big?
Nope, they can be skeptical. I don't give a. I'm just telling you what I know. It's fine. If you don't believe me, go pull up some Twitch streams, see what ads you get. Probably going to be a lot of Amazon-owned companies like Rivian, Prime Video, etc. Why is that? Why did Hassan literally have no ads on his channel anymore? Why is he so mad? He said, as Israel was banned for a year and Twitch did nothing. That's why.
I just
And
went on
I
Jinxie's stream and I'm getting ads for Black Ops 6.
I'm not saying that there's not advertisers there. There is. We'll keep contacting people. But yeah, I didn't say there was no ads left. I said that a lot of people have left. You know what I'll do, Tom? I will send you verification right now to you personally, as long as you don't leak it. Would that be acceptable to you?
Sure, I won't leak it. I just want to sound.
And what I want to know is what he sends him right here. What could he send him that at a glance is like that definitive?
Stream, I didn't see an ad there for sure.
Because Turkey Tom here doesn't seem super convinced.
There's no ad on his.
Hold on one second.
Hillary Clinton
So I'm going to send you
style
some
figure.
stuff. And
Yeah, I watched this
again,
when you sent it
if
to
this
me
leaks, I'm
earlier.
going to know. it
I
came
will
from you.
not leak whatever the you send me. You just you know what? Just send it and then like delete it right after. My hands
No,
are off
like-
my
like-
computer, so I can't like screen.
Well, no, you have to read it. That's the problem.
Well, should I read it in my head or out loud?
No, definitely don't read it out loud in your head.
Okay, I'll read it in my mind. My hands
I'm
are
gonna
not
give you-
on the keyboard, so I can't copy anything.
Okay, I'm gonna give you just a few things here. Okay, and these are obviously big ones. So that's one. Hold on.
Okay, I have to click on it so I can read it. I'm not copying and pasting anything. I'm just clicking on it.
Oh, yeah. Just go down to the bottom of that. So that was the #1 advertiser for Twitch. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on.
I see that one. All right, that is a big one.
Okay, this one I'm trying to find the thing for it. Hold on.
All right, I'm just gonna click.
that
I'm
was
gonna
a-
click into the next one when it pops up.
Yeah. Hold on. 1 second.
Do.
Okay. Fuck. I can't really like this one is all right. I'm sending this to you. Do not say anything about this, okay?
I will not.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna click into it just so I can read it, but I will not copy anything. All right. Holy shit.
All right.
Will any of this ever get leaked? You can delete it right now, by the way.
Yeah,
I
okay.
finished reading.
Hold on. Can you at least like I mean there's a lot more shit like that. Like I can send you more individual ones, but like you know what I mean? Like at least tell them like, hey, Dan's not full of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the audience wants to just take my word for it.
I would be so interested to know what could possibly be. Oh, wait, 1 second. What is this? Oh, they did not do away with pre-roll ads. You're supposed to still get pre-rolls. Depending on like, you know, how much in what do you call it? Mid-rolls you have. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if I could show it. But right here, keep pre-roll ads on my channel. So that is still there. So they haven't gotten rid of pre-roll ads.
For it, but it looks like you're not full of shit. That looks real. Those are some big ones for sure.
Anyways, it won't like here's the thing. It's this is some cucked shit, but for every person in chat that says I don't give a soy, I hope they ban more. Good. I hope that all of your people that you enjoy lose money as a result of your behavior and their behavior. Because for every person in chat that says I don't give a there's a streamer that says I don't give a and the thing is, as we as a community, if we don't care about each other, okay, if all of a sudden Canadians get banned and oppressed and everything like that from YouTube and no one says anything, then we deserve to lose advertising as a result of it if we don't stand up and say something.
I don't
okay?
understand how there's no articles about this.
Because nobody knows yet, because it's happening right now. That's why, like at this second. But I mean, you know, Sunday.
Well, I'd imagine there's going to be comment from big companies eventually, right?
I mean, if you go back to that wiki thing, there's a ton of coverage for it.
I mean, there's going to be comment from the companies themselves, the advertisers.
No. See, we're doing it smart, essentially. I've done a lot of things differently this time. Not that I'm like the one running all this. A lot of people doing their own shit. But the worst thing to do is to have the advertisers make statements. In the past, every other boycott, they went and they like, please, you need to make a statement that you're disavowing this. Nope, we're not asking for that. No, you can just stop running your ads. You know why? Because I don't want any of these people that stop running their ads to get any negative attention whatsoever from the people that are against it. So
what do you think the result is going to be? You think Dan Clancy's going to get fired or something?
Dan Clancy is the tip of the spear of anti-Semitism on Twitch. That's what I will tell you. He is either retardedly incompetent at his job, that he forgot that he banned a country for a year. Like, think about how stupid you have to be as a CEO that
I agree
has
completely.
100 people in
I don't know
ads,
how that
100 people in
happens.
analytics.
I cannot believe
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? It's not possible when you have like 100 people working in advertising and analytics that you don't know that oops, Israel is banned. So that's why I'm like conspiracy pilled. Why are you like,
So
you don't actually think he's an anti-Semite? I actually think he is.
So your argument is like it's there's no way it's conspiracy. There's just no way. Or sorry, there's no way it's not conspiracy.
There's a way. You know what it is we flipped a coin 100 times now. And each time it's either anti-Semite or that was a really inconvenient mistake. And every time I flip the coin, it's coming up as anti-Semite. Unbanning Sneeko, not banning the Houthi, Hassan saying shit and never getting punished ever. The Twitch panel with insane anti-Semitic shit. All this, like, every time it's always the fucking same way, right? And when you look at that, it's like, I guess they just, like, what?
In my ideal world, I think just Destiny would never get banned and Hassan never would have gotten banned. But I also think the thing is, like, I think the only reason why Hassan has been allowed to get so crazy on Twitch is because the moderation is clearly biased in favor of him. If Destiny was still on the platform and they hadn't banned him, even if they didn't like him, if they hadn't banned him, he'd have a lot of actual opposition on platform.
I don't really particularly care about the fact that Destiny is banned. Like, I meme about it. Like, it's not like important to me. What's important to me is really, it's just like Hassan can do whatever the he wants. So can his crew. And think about what had to happen for Frogan and that crew to get banned. The ADL had to make a statement being like they were concerned about anti-Semitism. And then you think like, okay, so Twitch, why did you ban Frogan? And they're going to say, oh, because hateful conduct. Okay, but that, to be clear, that hateful conduct happened at your conference.
Also,
right?
like, what she did is way less hateful than anything Hassan has said.
Yeah,
which is why it's crazy that she's banned and he's not.
It doesn't make sense, right? Because you're like, they just banned Frogan for hateful conduct.
Yeah.
For shit that happened at TwitchCon that they set up. So if it was hateful and you know it's hateful conduct, why didn't you do it when we reported it to you a week ago? What the f is going on?
Right.
And
so you're saying they started doing it because advertisers are pulling out.
They don't actually give a. I'll tell you this: if I didn't say anything, I guarantee you Israel would still be banned today. Right now, it would be.
Well, I mean, yeah, they were banned despite the fact that the subreddit was talking about it, and they had a bunch of support tickets filed. Nobody did anything. Yeah.
Anything else interesting in here?
About how they're upset and they
this
lose
Minecraft.
Yeah, but I mean that's because we're cooler. Imagine voting for the party that can't control the weather. The losers.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. Think about this. Why hasn't there been a statement from Twitch employees about how they're upset and they disavow and they want some change? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, they don't disavow.
They don't disavow. Or if there is, there's only a few people.
Because you would expect in a situation like this, if this is going on, you would see at least a few people within Twitch, you know, whistleblowing anonymously talking about it. What I'm really curious about is I wonder if, because the whole company seems to be in such a lockstep, I'm curious if during like hiring practices they screen for like political affiliation.
Did you see, oh my God, you didn't get to this part. Do you know who they hired to be the head of their trust and safety?
No.
Oh my God, you don't know. Oh no, you don't know. Let me introduce you. You can pull this up on stream. This is the new head, I think it's Trust, Safety, and Policy.
Exclusive. Ofcom suspends Director of Online Safety over anti-Israel views.
This was her previous job.
What did she actually say?
Very late stream.
What did she specifically say about Israel?
You can, by the way, you can watch in that video there of her getting reprimanded, the equivalent of in front of the president. Like,
let's see.
As to international law and media impartiality, will the Attorney General be asked to provide a legal note, if not a full opinion, given, for example, that one of Ofcom's directors, Ofcom having itself full statutory responsibility and regulatory responsibility of all visual and oral media, including the BBC, is reported to be supporting posts this week itself, arguing that the government's support for Israel is a vile colonial alliance, referring to ethnic cleansing and genocide of Palestinians, and Ofcom must surely be told that it must deal with this at once,
maybe
as a matter of impartiality, quite apart from any criminal action that may be needed under terrorist or criminal law.
Well, I thank my honourable friend for his question. I'm sure that the attorney looks into it, and more generally just say I absolutely endorse those describing these attacks, calling them what they are, which are acts of terror by a terrorist organisation. Obviously, the BBC is editorially and operationally independent of government, but the Culture Secretary raised that specific issue with the BBC Director General last week.
What is Ofcom? Oh no. Director of Online Safety. Oh no. Comments which might be though to have an adverse impact on Ofcom's reputation, noting that all comments or posts on social media should be considered in the public domain, and comments on Ofcom policy should be avoided. So should expressions of opinion on matters of political or public controversy which could be thought to compromise the board's reputation for impartiality on editorial or other decisions in the broadcasting sphere. So she got canned. Terrorist.
Like, comment, and subscribe.